Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, genders of all ages, welcome to episode 10 of Alive on One, the Transformers.cards podcast. I am your host, the God King, Lord Zero, and today I'm joined by a fellow KingNaga.
Hey everyone.
This is the show where we talk about what's going on in the Transformers TCG community and shed some light on what the development team has been up to. Today we're going to talk about the current Season 3 Encounter tournament coming up, corrupted websites, and a small update on Wave 11's progress. As always though, first we have Card of the Month, and this month it's Takedown from July 2nd.
Yeah, I think when when we looked through the list, I thought Takedown was a good one because there's actually quite a good few talking points there, and I don't think we've actually had a chance to really talk about the obvious how would you word it, obvious obsoleting of a WotC card, which is obviously something that we said that we really don't want to do unless obviously necessary. And I'd say that Takedown would be maybe one of the few, if the only time that we obsolete, and there was some reasons behind it. So if no one's aware of the card from Wave 4 special delivery, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't remember because it's Wave 3 and 4. The Siege sets always kind of blend together for me, but I
Yes,
think
they
the
do.
art style was more 4. So special delivery from Wave 4 is obviously just move a damage counter from one of your characters to an enemy, and then obviously Takedown is basically the same effect. However, if the damage moved to the enemy as a 5-star or less, they get tapped. And there was a couple reasons why we made that, and it's not just because the obvious new introduction of enemy from Wave 10. Which, if no one's aware, the interaction with enemy and tripwire is enemy would take the tripwire damage and the effect. So he kind of protects your entire team from being tapped down from tripwire. And alone, that's pretty good. But thanks to .cards, we're able to see trends in deck building, especially in tournament scenes where Tripwire was not just a sideboard card. It was actually included in the main board, meaning that it was worthy enough, or players thought that 5 characters that had 5 or less stars or wide teams were that frequent in the meta that they needed to be mainboarded. So we really needed to be careful with introducing enemy, and if we were going to introduce enemy, we had to make Takedown, basically. And a way to get around the effect. And I'd say the unfortunate thing is the icon coloring for Takedown probably could have been blank, but at the same time, would it be played? Would it be put into sideboards? Do you still want it to have a negative effect on your play style when you're trying to put in a card that affects with a very, I'd say, highly present meta strategy? So we ultimately decided how many people really play special delivery. Is it going to be that upsetting that people could, like, their first choice would be Takedown over special delivery? We didn't think it'd be that much of an upset. I think we looked at the silver lining of, if a deck was going to play special delivery, they would probably also play Takedown instead of, like Fling, for example. Unfortunately, Fling has been power crept, but as always, there's stuff that plays off different variations of cards. So Fling obviously works better in a Wave 2 Skywarp deck, where a special delivery wouldn't, right? Because it's not blank.
Yeah.
So there's those things. And it's about just giving the options to the players. And we wouldn't want a set to go live and say a potential issue with enemy warping wide teams to the really, if we're going to be honest, the only major high playable counter to wide teams being tripwire, that being completely countered. So Takedown was the card of the month just because it was probably, I don't want to say it was the most thought through process on a card, because obviously we think through process on a card, but this is probably one of the first cards that we've gone and like I said, probably the only one where this is going to obsolete a card. If you only want to play it for that purpose.
Yeah. It's definitely the biggest obsolescence of a card we've ever knowingly done.
And possibly the only one, to be fair.
As far that I can think of, yeah.
Yeah, until we get to like maybe wave 20 and then we've got so many cards, but then it becomes a little bit harder. It becomes a little bit harder with some other things. And to be fair, I was thinking about some other things too, touching on move damage and damage counter manipulation as well. I don't think we touched that too much. On a slight tangent as well, I play a lot of Pokemon, and at the moment there's I played Pokemon 10 years ago, and I played Pokemon again today, and the move counter and put damage counter sort of manipulation going through all their protection, say they have a hollow matter in their game, like moving counters and putting damage counters gets through that. Same thing for Transformers as well. And I think we wouldn't really get to that space. So that's kind of touching more on the comment of when we get to wave 20, we might be obsoleting some cards, and we'll see. There is still some unexplored design space in the game. We have, coming up in the next few waves that we have planned, I don't think we're anywhere near filling every single corner of design of the game yet.
No.
Because there's still stuff like Mill. What does Mill look like for Transformers? But I think stuff like damage counter manipulation can happen still and stuff like that. And that's where stuff like takedown and special delivery could shine if we ever look at that space. So that's a very deep look into takedown. Probably way more than everyone needed, to be fair.
And you also know here at first, wave 20 confirmed. It will be titled, Holy crap, you're still doing this.
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to get there, eh?
Right.
There's definitely enough ideas to get there. It's just about the how long we're at 11. If people are still interested in 9 years, we'll be doing wave 20. So
yeah, we're still it's been 5 years now since the game was canceled, so we're still working at it.
Oh yeah. Damn, 5 years. That's a while.
I know, right? Last month, there was no live on 1. My plate in life was just overflowing. Couldn't get to it. And then, if anyone's been to the website lately, you'll notice that no, you haven't. Transformers.cards runs off a Raspberry Pi in my living room, and the SD card in it got corrupted, crashed the whole site as well as all my other sites. Thankfully, I have backups of everything in multiple places because I'm not an idiot, but it still takes a while to figure out what was corrupted, what was backed up, to rebuild the whole server. It now runs off USB, no longer an SD card. And so as of yesterday, it's finally back up and running. There's going to be problems. I'm sure there's issues I've missed. I don't think Naga's been aware of this yet, but if you're to right now go look at the Wave 6 battle cards, all of them are at the next version instead of what they're supposed to be. Same with most of Wave 8. The backups I had on my local computer, I had updated them for when I did the card print, because a bunch of people wanted some Wave 6. Knowing that we're going to release version 4 here sooner than later, I went ahead and just bumped those cards up to version 4. And yeah, that's what the backups were. So I need to still address that.
To be completely honest, for me, it looks fine. Ayuk is unchanged.
Oh, is it? Okay. I don't know about Ayuk. Ayuk should be unchanged because I didn't print Ayuk. It was all battle cards. All of Wave 6 is now generated on there. And about half of Wave 8 battle cards are.
Okay. Cool.
As of this recording, by the time this goes live, signups for Season 3 Encounter 3 will now be up. It's a Wave 6 through 10 only tournament, our first tournament we've ever had without any WotC cards allowed.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one, eh? Because when we've done, obviously, only Wave 1 through to 5, that was interesting. When we only did even waves and then odd waves, we had some sprinklings of the community waves, but this is this is removing pretty much like I've been saying to every new person that's popped up over the last month. We've had a couple, which is great. It's good to see some new faces. And people have asked me how important are the waves 1 through to 5? And I've had people ask me, and this is an actual question that someone has asked me. How, if you were to rank the importance of every single wave in order
Ooh.
in the meta game today, how would you rank them out of the waves 1 through to 5? Because those are the ones that you'd obviously go out and buy physically, right?
Yeah,
And people
yeah.
like opening packs, right? And I can't exactly remember where I put it, but I always put wave 1 as the most
Yep.
meta
That was my
impactful set.
first thought too. My
Yep.
first thought
It
too.
is easily 30 to 40% of the majority of decks that would be there. And I guess, slight tangent, a couple of people have obviously asked, hey, what would I buy? And I think it's always a question of money, because there's sometimes
Of course.
cards or boxes of stuff are hard. But if money was not an issue, I would always tell people first thing you buy is an Energon edition, because you get Cliff Jumper, OPBL, Nemesis Prime, Legendary B, Slipstream. I
And a
think that's all
box of wave
6,
1.
and Living Weapon Megatron, right? And you get a box of wave 6. Wave 1, not wave 6, wave 1. That'd be the first thing to buy. And then I guess, to be completely fair, my next ranking was wave 2 and wave 4 are probably the most impactful, kind of on the same footing. I'd go wave 5 would be next, and I'd only say, I know a lot of people would say wave 5 is a lot more impactful, but I think wave 5 only has key cards
I
like
agree.
belligerence and
Yeah.
hostilities hold the line. So it's got a lot more singles. I'd say after we banned most of the stuff from wave 5, like the Fangry, Horrible, Quake, the Health Heads, etc., that set obviously went down. That set was before those bans, unfortunately, probably going to be competing with Wave 1, which is that's bad. When you think of Wave 1 is the base set of the game, that's got the most useful key tools in it. And then unfortunately, Wave 3 would be the last. There's some key cards in there, but it's like stuff like Smoke Cloak and Combat Dagger that are key things in the metagame. But going back to Wave 6 and 10, it's going to be interesting, eh? There's not going to be a lot of key strategies. Like, you won't see cars, you won't see planes. You're going to see sharks, Junkions, and stuff like that come out of this. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
I'll be curious
Um,
to see if anyone plays Quintessons.
I'd want to say, because with Wave 6 through to 10, obviously 6 and 8 have so much Quintesson stuff, but it's when you're making decks, you always look at it and you go, "Wow, I'm missing like this card from Wave 1."
Yeah, yeah.
So like, say if you play blue Alicons, for example, you don't have the bigger they are, you don't have surprise attack, you don't have like any of those really nice piercing actions. Um, you just have Mace. Yeah, but here's the thing: when you think about it, you have Macetron Laser, a great card. You put on it's a weapon that is a blue-green +2. You put on Quintessons only, and it works like the Noble's Blast, the Scoundrel's Blaster, except while it's on a Quintesson, and it does damage to a character of a different faction, they have PS2, or they're attacking, not does damage, sorry. They're attacking a character of a different faction, they have PS2. When you think about it, in a vacuum meta of wave 6 to 10, it's
That's
not
almost
as
every
likely
character.
anymore. Yeah, it's not gonna when you think about it, right? A lot of people might be playing Quintessons. It might not work. Opposed to
Yeah.
when you have everything in the game. A lot of people are gonna be playing Autobots and Decepticons. So it's not as simple as just going, hey, this is my Quintesson deck that plays every wave. Let me just take out waves 1 through to 5. You still gotta think about stuff like the Macetron Laser, for example. Um, but still, there's some really good cards in there. We might see some characters from Wave 7 would be really interesting to see, because some of those characters are really good, but they're just awkward star costs, I think, at
Yeah.
the moment. A Highbrow, Wolfwire, um, Hardhead, I think, is a really good character, moving weapons around to
They're
do
good
ping
characters,
damage.
but they normally don't have a good place to fit in.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's the thing. When we've talked it and we've had comments coming back around about Wave 7 of going, hey, do we make stratagems to buff the characters? But I think we've talked about it a bit, and Wave 7 is just it's it's sitting there waiting for the right partners to be made
Yeah.
for the decks, I think. Um, and that sort of stuff comes through. Say like unfortunately you can't quite play it because Captain Ironhide is in wave 4. Wait, no, wave 3. Wave 3 is Captain Ironhide, but Hardhead, Captain Ironhide, and what's the little dude? Power Glide is something that I've tried out and using like armed hovercrafts, for example, and you swap them around with Captain Ironhide, and then you use Hardhead to throw it onto himself, and you re-trigger armed hovercraft like a whole bunch of times, which is really cool. But it's like you have to have that 4-star power glide in there, and it's like
Yeah.
so there's some really cool stuff. So it would be interesting to see a whole bunch more stuff from the Wave 7 characters come through. Just going through here, there's not a lot of mercenaries. I think if I'm going to be honest, one of the things that I'm probably going to expect the most, and we did see this when Wave 6 was printed originally, but obviously it got unnerfed, was exhaust brutal conditioning.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that was a very good combo. Now, if you weren't aware, brutal conditioning, when it was first printed, was only a star. So it was a 9-star combination to make a very tanky exhaust. Now it's 2 stars, and the combination is 10, so it's a little bit more stomachable. You don't have as much options, and I think that's a small little tidbit of the team. Often the time, um, looks at star increases as a lot of, and people may not realize this, but increasing something by a star changes the card a shitload. Like
Yes.
a lot,
Yeah.
an incredible amount. Um, so yeah, we might see exhaust. I think
I
exhaust and
think we
brutal
will
conditioning
because
for me.
it's
Mm,
familiar.
oh yeah, for sure. And I think it's just a great safe combo. You can also include Mega Ratchet in there as well because there is that mega. There's that Mega Ratchet exhaust. What was it? Brawn deck, I believe. But that obviously goes off stuff like uh opportune repairs, sorry, the opportune card, so opportune repairs and then opportune offensive, which obviously aren't available. So that sort of deck might not work, but it might still, so that would be quite interesting to see. I know that Crash Bash, for example, has been a hot topic on a lot of people's minds because he's come up quite a bit, especially for myself. I've made some comments of how cheap he is to deploy 2 characters opposed to
Hmm.
everything else in the game, but that's a topic in itself. Um, he, I don't think he's going to come up because there's
I
no
think
heads.
I think white is also gone. Like there's no.
Yeah,
There's like
I think
we have what wide character would we even have? Is it just the GoBot? Like her name
uh,
Crusher.
Crasher would be the wide protection. I mean, you'd have Ayuk and you have Ironic in there, but they're like Ayuk is obviously a good card for wide, but you don't have RC, you don't have Brawn, you don't have Night Racer. Night Racer is obviously only in wide because Night Racer is insanely good health pool. She's just a body
Yeah,
basically.
no Flame War,
Um,
no Night Racer is already I think a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting. I think the wide sort of decks will be those Quintesson decks where you could play sharks. But I say a lot of people just. I think I've seen some comments where people have said, "Oh, sharks are just going to dominate it." But I think people forgetting there's no grenade launcher, there's no power
Hmm.
punch, there's no combat dagger. You're missing your improvised shields. You're missing your bashing shields as well. That's another big thing, right? Um, and I think this is where possibly you might see some of those interesting judges from Wave 6 come up because all the aspects kind of don't have anything to fear anymore.
That's
Most of those
true.
are armors. There's no
Yeah.
bashing shield. There's no ramming speed. There's no vaporize. There's no disarm. There's no disassemble either. I think I think the only main source of removal is Impetuous Stand. That is probably the really only quote reliable removal. We have stuff like it escapes my mind. This is Bad Comedy in Wave 9. That only hits obviously utilities. I think every other kind of removal escapes my mind if there's actually any that exist outside of those, to be fair. Is it Armor Piercing Munitions from Wave 7? That one, I believe, deletes armors as well. For tanks, yep, scraps the defender's armors. And I think there's one other card which is relax with a cold one, which is Junkions and scrapping utilities. So that's one thing to look out for. Is upgrades sticking around. So I think judges might have a little space there where their aspects actually get to sit pretty for once and just have free reign of doing whatever the heck they want, to be completely fair. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really crazy. I don't think you can really predict if any team will be there. I think it's just a safe bet that you'd see Exhaust, because Exhaust and Brutal Conditioning is just a good combination, to be fair.
Do you have anything you're leaning towards?
Oh, do I reveal the secret sauce?
I think I might go Terracons.
Oh, Terracons would be interesting, yeah, because most of their
like you
support
said,
isn't there, yeah.
They're missing a lot of their Wave 1 through 5 cards, but Terror Burster is going to be protected.
Yeah, oh, true. Terror Burster won't go anywhere as well. Yeah, I think people might have to play 3 copies of Impetuous Stand as much as like a lot of people
I
don't
think
like.
Impet Stand's going to be the single most played card in the tournament. That's my call.
Yeah, because there's no other removal options, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to go in there. I've been looking at stuff with sharks and everything like that. Do I have a saved list somewhere?
I mean, you
Probably
don't have to go
not.
into detail if you don't want to, right? Like saying
No.
what
I
characters isn't a big deal.
I was obviously thinking I love Sentinel Prime from Wave 8, but there's obviously not that many heads, so I've definitely had a look around. I think Exhaust is definitely something that I'm going to explore with Brutal Conditioning, for sure. Because there's just so much potential in that one card alone. But I'm definitely looking at Quintesson and Junkion packages, just because they're like the straight in your face. A lot of cards that synergize with them, and now that I've said it. Clergy with the aspects and the aspects hanging around could be pretty fun.
I really hope we see, all the judges and stuff like that, just because I think of all the themes we've done since WotC, they might be the least explored concept.
For sure, I agree. I think it's because it's awkward when you play a game where you generally have 3 wide teams. Not saying judges can't play 3 wide, but you have 3 wide teams of all characters that attack and do damage. And I think judges are very heavily potentially on the either enabling aggro with sharks, or you're all very heavy on that control side,
Yeah.
where you want to play a very slow game. So I think that sort of stuff could pop up here. Like I said with Clergy, what is it? There's that battle card that only works with judges. That is either do 1 damage or repair 1 damage, and do it twice if you've got a judge on the field. That I think that card's really good. And then now it's only wave 6 to 10. That sort of stuff could come up. So yeah, that'd be really cool.
So we've still been working on Wave 11. There's not a lot to report about it. One of the things I've realized, and I haven't talked to the whole team about this might be a slight surprise to Naga. We have a lot of cards in Wave 11 which have had no testing. They don't even have art. They
Yeah.
are effectively just ideas. And I think we're going to need to go through those and kind of just really clear out and kind of narrow down the set to what can we get done, what's going to be ready, and stuff like that. Because I strongly think we really need to have focus on the mini cons and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. The minicon is a very big inclusion. I know that we showed off 2 months ago now. The templating, which obviously I had a hand in trying to get the most clear. For now, anyway, right? So everything
Yeah.
in development that we show,
Always
if
changes.
it doesn't, yeah, if it doesn't come out on release day the exact same, don't don't hold us to any words that we say months prior. Everything can change even the day before it gets released. And that sort of that's I think what a great example of official people doing that was Galaxy Prime was originally 19 health or something like that before it
Yeah.
was released, like a week before they printed wave 4 or something like that. And then he bumped to what, 21, I think it was. He was either 20 or 19, and then they bumped him up for whatever reason. So we not to say that we'd do that exact scenario where we might change a stat or tweak something like that last second, but everything that we show is obviously to keep the hype around stuff, and we like showing off what we're working on,
Well,
right?
even something
So,
like what we talked about earlier with Takedown. Takedown was
oh yes,
added to Wave 10, like, God, very shortly before release. I want to say within like last like couple weeks. That's
yeah, I
adding
think it
a
was the
whole
last
new.
couple of weeks for
That's
sure.
adding a whole
Yeah.
new card, let alone just like a stat tweak.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what made Wave 10 take that like that extra like month basically, was because we went, okay, we need this, and then we just hyper focus tested that.
Yeah.
Obviously we had the grounding for special delivery already back there.
True.
So we just had to basically make sure does it really function? Does the icon is the icon okay? But yeah, so I agree. Actually, yes, Zero's right. It is news to me. That the ideas quote sitting in there might get squeezed out, but I think that's the nature of development and making sure we have the release schedule still kind of say we don't have a concrete release schedule, but we want to keep it around to at least that one full set, maybe even one full set and then one of the half sets a year, or like two half sets and then like the
Yeah.
promos like we saw um sort of last year. So what we did wave 9 last year with Scorponok and Bruticus all through of last year, and then we had wave 10. Gosh, too many waves. Wave 10 start off quite early this year, right? So
Yeah.
that's basically in our minds almost two mini sets along with two promo sets within the space of what, about 14 months, really, just over a
Give or
year.
take. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we do larger sets like Wave 11, you'd expect it to be more, because it's a massive shakeup. There's also takes us a while, more cards, but also there'll be like that sort of rest period too, where we want to see where people use a whole bunch of cards and see where they go as well. So there'll be a lot of downtime leading up to Wave 11 and a bit of downtime from Wave 11. But yes, mini cons will be a great inclusion in the next set, along with the other stuff. I don't know. We've said what the name for Wave 11 was,
Yeah.
right?
The name's been released.
Yeah, hostile airspace. So obviously, airspace, plane support, air support. So mini cons and a whole bunch of plane, helicopter sort of stuff coming out in that one. So that is still mostly going to be intact.
Basically, just trying to make sure we get it out and not bog ourselves down by making
Oh,
it
for
too large.
sure. For
It's
sure. Yeah,
it's really easy to keep adding cards to a set so that it takes forever to release.
oh
It's
yeah, for
harder to
sure.
remove them.
It definitely is. Like the amount of times that you just like you're just doing something and I make ideas. The amount of times I've just sent you ideas of things that I found. Like recently finding literally every piece of Legends art in a folder just
Yeah.
randomly one day has made me go, oh my gosh, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that. And that is just, exploded some of the ideas sort of things there and stuff like that as well. And you sit there and you scroll through comics and you go, that art looks nice. What could that go with? Yeah,
I
so it's
really
really
like this
easy to
character.
just yeah, it's really easy to make cards. But yeah, like Z said, it's hard to take them out.
Yeah.
Um so yeah.
I
But
always
that
say,
I
like,
mean,
ideas are not what we need. We need
oh yeah, for sure.
people who play.
We need
Ideas
people
are
who
the
play.
easiest part of development.
Exactly. And that's where we go back to that Wave 20 confirmed thing, because we probably have enough to get us to Wave bloody 20 at this point.
Right. That will do it for this episode. On the next episode, we'll be midway through Encounter 3 and have an idea of what everyone's playing this weird event.
Just make sure you sign up for Encounter 3, Wave 6 to 10 only.
Sign-ups for Encounter 3 will be on the website right now. You can go sign up for it.
Yeah.
If you have feedback or questions, you can leave them in the comments of this video, or you can leave them anonymously at Transformers.cards/aliveon1. That's the number at the end. If you're interested in joining the team, we could really use some new artists. Transformers.cards/recruitment. And that's all I got. Naga, thank you for joining me at this very impromptu episode.
No worries, no worries. I know I'm not Hawk. I was probably meant to insert like a Hawk joke at the start of my introduction, but I'm always happy to fill in and jump on when I can.
All right, until next time, Toodles.
See ya.